So me and the man, we are sitting around the South Bank room. For those of you which don't know, a South Bank room in a manor house is a room that's isolated from all the other rooms. It's generally known as the quietest room of the house. It's very contemplative, but once you know it, here comes the producer. The producer, he had to shimmy down a dumbwaiter shaft, and he was crawling underneath a person. We didn't even know what's going on. We thought, like a family of raccoons was in the South Bank room. We very rarely go in there. It's musty. It's where the man's dad kept all of his important papers, all of his financial records, all his deeds and all that. And the producer, he stands up and he dusts himself off and he's all super happy and he says, I told you, controversy. Controversy is how you get whatever you would say, a little publicity or get a build-up. We're building out, we're branding, whatever you say, building it out. And me and the man, we both looked at him and said, God bless, how'd the producer find us in here? And we expected, whatever, it doesn't even matter. But it was, it's like Jeepers Creepers, and he has this stack of papers and he's like, reading them to himself and then drop them on the floor. And we're just sitting there wondering if he's going to say anything. He goes, oh, here it is. He goes, so look, this is what somebody writes, okay? He says, check it out, dog. This guy writes, this guy, he says, and he couldn't even read. He got so flustered, he handed it to me. And I'm like, I got to read this crap now? I mean, and obviously it's from an adherent. And the adherent wrote, and the producer, he plopped down in one of those big cushion chairs. As a cloud of dust shot up, it was really, I almost started to sneeze. And I read what the adherent had said, or the quote that the producer had written down. He says, let me see. He said, get real, dude. You can't critique an artist without having known their entire body of art. That adherent, he was implying that I obviously do not have, as an idiotic, stupid dog, I don't know why you would infer that I should have, but I don't have what you would say a degree in art critiquing. But, I thought that was okay. I didn't know there was such a thing as being able to get a degree as an art critic. That's what you call a real Gen Z sort of a kind of diploma or a vocation or something. I don't know what you would call it. But then I thought, one of the best things about being a fan of any particular artist is when you discover something new, a new piece of their work that you weren't familiar with. Like, first time I heard Blood on the Tracks or Pet Sounds after, being familiar with all the old work, all the old songs. Or the first time I ever saw Woman Weeping, after being familiar with Descending Stairs or whatever. It doesn't even matter. The main point, I think, that the adherent was trying to get me for wasn't really that I was a critiquer of art, a failed critiquer of art. I didn't know what I was talking about. It's that I was fascinated or fixated on Louis, J. Gomez is, whatever you would say, his chromodomus scalpel area. That I was pointing out too much of the glare, the sheen, having a problem. And I got to admit, he's right. The adherent was correct. I was fixated, what I'm saying, and I couldn't let it go, and I kind of overdid it. But I thought, what, he's a skank, A skank can't take it? The skanks have open season on everything, everybody. You can't have an open season on a skank? That's what got me a little confused. I didn't understand, whatever. But then the adherent and then the producer was like tapping the notes. He's like, oh, right there, read what else he said. And I was like, all right, whatever. Okay, so, it kind of gave me a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach that this adherent had taken so much time to write so much crap about, And the idea that the producer's sitting there like the Cheshire Cat with a big mouthful of teeth, smiling, shaking his head, going, see, I told you. And I'm like, this is going to monetize into something. This, I don't know, this angst or this, whatever you would say. And the producer is like, yeah, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Hate equals love, this, that, the other thing. I don't even know. So the producer kept motioning me for me to read. And I said, okay, whatever. So another quote that the producer had written down from the long-winded adherent was, as a quote, he said, to shut that idea down is identical to the fascism that you purvey to hate. And I thought, you know, right away, the producer, he's shaking his head, but I said, pervade, I hate. I'm just an idiotic, stupid dog. And maybe that's part of the thing that this guy isn't getting, you know. I'm not purporting to be, you know, but at least I wouldn't use a word like purvey. I mean, I felt a little sorry for the adherent because I think when he said purvey, he meant to say purport. You know, if you purvey, you provide or supply, like you're a purveyor of small animals like crickets or mice to ophidiophiles. Like if you were a purveyor, you would have a little, whatever, you have a little shop where you could come in and buy a bunch of crickets and mice for your snakes, and then all the ophidiophiles could be happy that way. But if you purport, you know, you appear to claim, you know. So I think you messed it up there a little bit. That's okay. It only just destroys everything you said because that one glaring mistake, believe me, I know. Adherent, next time proofread. You know, you make the one mistake and that's all they're going to jump on. The only other thing I was going to say, you know, is don't put massive in all caps or they're going to think that you are a Donald J. Trump-ophile. You know, don't use all caps. It's just too much. But cheer up, Adherent. You currently hold the record for the longest comment on the dog, whatever you say it is, a YouTube channel or whatever it is. You hold the record. And, you know, I think you're probably right about some of the things you said, and you're a record holder, so whatever, you know, pretty cool.